is. Like I hum an idea or hum some keywords or hum, we work with the client to hum jam. Basically, and the jam part is where you're humming up ideas, and then with another musician or another partner, they put their part to it. They hum along with you, and that's what a hum jam is. So hum jamming is when we get with the client, we get with Jonathan, we would get with anybody we're working with, and we hum jam harmony. How is this going to work? The message to the marketing, to the management, to all that kind of stuff. And that's Google Eat. Meaning Google wants to see that your expertise matches your authoritativeness and matches, like they want to see all these connections and these interconnections. So that's what we exist to do, is to help train companies and, again, people that's providing digital marketing services. I've been doing this since 1994. I was a Microsoft consultant, one of their original web developers back early in the day. I've met Bill Gates live back in 1994. Awesome. Yeah. And the people that were there, let's just put it that way. Back in 1994, the original web developers with Bill Gates all looked like men in black. I swear to God, they were all aliens. Like I was the only human there. And you're laughing, but I tell my spouse that all the time. I'm like, I swear to God, I think there were aliens there that day. And this is in 1994.
You know that lady on the plane, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. Yeah.
They actually confirmed they're real, so you're probably not far off.
But it's like jokes on you because now your head, you look like an alien. So
I know, and I could be one. Like that's the cool thing is I actually could be. But that's what we do at Hum Jam is we come up with ideas like we're doing right now. We're coming up with an idea, and we're jamming it out and seeing if it works. And that's kind of what we do with digital marketing and training is teach people how to do that. And it works, meaning it actually gets ranking. I just posted a screenshot, Jonathan respond to. You can have keywords that are going along, but if you have the right keywords that are in harmony, the actual results spike. Like you see huge spikes of activity. You don't want to see just common flatlining. We call it flatlining in the marketing world. You want to see huge spikes of erratic activity of people that's doing these erratic searches. And, that's what we're looking for. We're looking for actual people that's looking for our stuff. So that's spiky. That's not flatline. People aren't flatlining hot in the summer. You want to see spikes, and we want to capture all those spikes because that's the highest converting and highest dollar ROI stuff is all the spiky stuff. So harmony, that's all we're doing. We're just jamming out, seeing what works, and what works, we jam it, put it together a song. We put together a campaign or a plan, and that's basically what we do. That's as nerdly as we get. And we nerd out on it too. Jonathan will tell you, because we train, like we're trainers. I've been a Microsoft trainer since 1997. So, we train, like we love training. We love teaching. We love, we're also researchers. Like we love researching, seeing what works. And we have big clients that we no longer offer our SEO services, but we have Time Warner, Chuck Jones, Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck. We have Marvin Martian. Like we have major big brands. We have art galleries. We have local galleries. We also have a lot of different local service spaces that we're testing tools with. And we have a big presence in the local space in the UK because that's when we started doing local marketing. We said we're not going to compete against anybody in the US because we wanted to train the US people. So we actually hit the UK. And so we got big ranking in the UK for the interior design local space. So we know local marketing works. What works in Google in the UK is also working here in the US. And so, it's kind of the algorithm. So that's what we focus on. Anyways,
I am so slow. Like, I'm like, there's Google in other parts of the world. Like
there is.
Somebody just clicked with me. Like that's all right.
Of course.
Yeah. And how cool is that you can be in the US and actually do local SEO in the UK?
Right. Exactly. That is pretty cool.
Is it my turn?
This is really cool.
It is your turn.
All right. Well, I'm Jonathan Bannister, and I'm the CEO and founder of Cornerstone Marketing Solutions and also the host of the Home Service Hustle podcast. And we've been in the home service space doing digital marketing for the last 8 or 9 years, February of 2015, I believe. So almost 9 years. And we have really kind of been the same as all other marketing companies, checking off boxes for the most part of the last, say, first 6 years we're in business. And checking off boxes really just meant that we were doing the things that Google and Facebook and these other platforms were telling us to do. And we were trying to get the best results we possibly could for our clients. And to tell a little quick story of really, it was right before COVID is when things changed vastly for Cornerstone. And what happened was, it was almost like for a selfish reason, but I'm so thankful that it happened, was there was a presentation deck or multiple presentation decks that I had, and we have strong relationships with manufacturers. And that's where we've grown our business over the years off the backs of Goodman and Carrier and York, and so thankful for those partnerships. And because of that, I had these presentations that I would go get on stage and would get these breakout sessions with contractors, and I would use a couple of our clients' numbers and data. And there was this one client in Texas, and we were killing it for 2 years. We were just blowing it out the water. And the client left one day, and I was, clients come and go like that. That's going to happen, right? And I've never called a client personally myself to say, like, why did you leave? But I did this day because I was bothered, I think, I'm going to have to go redo these presentation decks. And I had a presentation coming up. So that's where the selfish reason came in. But I called him and I said, can I just ask, like, man, the results seem great, right? And I know we've been communicating that to you, like, what happened? And he said, well, Jonathan, look, I'm going to tell you, we've been with you for about 2.5 years. You've grown our business 2 years in a row. And I was like slapping the phone, like, okay, so tell me again, I don't understand. Why did you leave? And he said, well, we left because we had some growth goals and we missed those, and they caused some disruption in our business. And I was like, what do you mean? And he said, well, the first year we grew our business by 800,000, but we were trying to grow by 1.5. And the second year, he said, you grew our business by just right at $1 million, but we were trying to grow 1.7 or 2 million. And I was sitting there like dumbfounded. I was like, well, what could I have really done about that? And, because we would let the clients kind of dictate how much money do you want to spend for your budget, And so when you're in for the AC world, like, we're in a weather-driven business. Like, we rely on Mother Nature a lot. And it's like, if I'm letting the client determine how much they want to spend and we're not aligned on a clear expectations of where their goals are, it could get ugly. And that's when we saw that we needed to go fix that. So I started diving in deep with a couple of my clients that I'm close with to really understand, how do we determine what their goals are, where they currently are, where they're trying to get to, but more importantly, their numbers. Because what I mean by that is that I've got a client in California right now, and I've got one on the Northeast coast. Both of them have over an average ticket, an install ticket of around $19,000 or $20,000. Well, I have other ones that have average installs of $7,000 or $8,000. So if both of these clients say, well, we want to go from 3 million to 4 million, when you reverse engineer those numbers, they're going to be completely different, because the leads I need for installs and replacements to get to that revenue growth goal that they have is completely different. Like, the lead flow is completely different. The ad spend needs to be completely different. So now we kind of we say that we're consultants first. We're not real consultants, but that's our approach when we're bringing on a new client, is understanding their overhead expenses, their job cost numbers, their average service ticket, and we plug it into the system that we have to really be able to show the client, listen, we would love to work with you, but we need to understand your internal numbers. And guys, it's not always advertising or marketing dollars you have to throw at something. Sometimes, like I saw a client the other day, they're going to do $10 million this year. And guys, I'm not going to call out any names. I hope they're not listening. Their average service ticket is still under $200, right? And
what? I'm sorry, what?
Their
average service ticket is under service ticket. You're talking like go out, diagnose what's wrong with it. Why is it making that weird humming sound?
$200.
$200.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I'll be leaving the house for $200.
I understand that, right? Like, I'm like, guys, that number should be $500-600 minimum. Yeah. Their average service ticket's under 200. They'll do $10 million this year. So it's like, well, now it's a training component. Like, right? Let's get our, we do sales training as well. Let's get our sales trainers out there and let's try to get that average ticket up where it needs to be. Doing $10 million, the lead flow they're doing they'll pick up an extra million, 1.5 million revenue just by getting those numbers up. So next year, when we're reevaluating things, we're just going to maybe go, well, if we do sales training a few times a year, get this number up, and your goal, your new revenue goal is only an extra million, 1.8 that you want to do. Well, guess what? Keep the marketing spend where it needs to be, where it's at. We don't need to throw any more money at marketing. Let's just get your average tickets up. So that's kind of where we've been. But here's where Joseph and his team at HumJam has come in, was I saw the writing on the wall. I saw that last year that the major algorithm changes to Google was going to disrupt the entire market, not just in HVAC, not just in plumbing, but across all industries. It was going to make major waves and changes, and I wanted to get in front of it. So I did some research. I tried to find the best of the best that I could, and we got engaged October of 2022, brought them in to do a 10-week training course with us. And, you know, I'm not sure if like the training was just to get me sucked in. You know, look, I don't know. We're friends now. They've now been here since October of 2022, but it worked. And so the 10-week training course then turned into, let's do a two full day audit of your agency, which then had me like really disgusted at some of the internal issues that we had and the overhead, you know, that was kind of out of whack because we weren't efficient, right? And we teach like tech efficiency and stuff with our clients, but we weren't efficient in our own processes and things. And then one thing I remember, I told you guys this story yesterday. I'll never forget, I was down at a mastermind in Miami and I had a meeting scheduled with Joseph. So this was, you know, earlier this year, you know, maybe December of last year. And I go downstairs in the hotel lobby of the hotel we were in, and I sit there and I do the call with Joseph. He said, listen, I was looking over all your stuff. He goes, I got a question for you. Are you selling content to your customers? And I was like, well, what do you mean? He goes, well, your programs, you do 2 pieces and 6 pieces and 8 pieces. He goes, does your clients want content? Is that what they're paying this money for? And I'm like, no, like my clients don't give a damn if they're getting 1 blog or 1 press release or 100. If their phones are ringing and their trucks are in people's driveways, that's all they care about. And he goes, all right, well, you've got this wrong, right? And he goes, we're going to train your team on it. But first, Jonathan, we need to restructure the programs that you have in market. He goes, you should be basing this off of keywords and cities or towns or areas, you know, whatever. He was like, then let's restructure the way your team's going to go and do the harmonic process. So that's who we are. That's who I am. That's how HumJam came, you know, into our lives. And we're extremely grateful because now we're seeing where I was on a sales call yesterday with one of my sales guys and looking at a competitor out in California. And like we ran competitor analysis on some of the 5 competitors that he gave us. Every one of them was nosediving. The Google Analytics, the traffic to the website, and they're big companies. You know, and at one time they were showing 6,000 to 12,000 unique visitors a month, and now it's down to like 1,500. Mm-hmm. You know, so this wasn't; these aren't like $10 and $15 million companies that just decided not going to do marketing, don't care about SEO anymore. No, they're doing the same thing, and that's the problem. They're doing the same thing that they were in 2021 and 2020, and because of this algorithm change, you cannot do the same thing that you used to do, which is checking boxes. It is putting out a bunch of content. A lot of content is not going to win the game anymore. And that's what I'm excited to have Joseph here to talk about. What is the new strategy? What were those updates? And then how can contractors fix things now to make sure that they don't continue to take a nosedive?
It's true.
Perfect. Yeah, and all that's awesome.
So would you like to introduce us?
Sure. I'm Jen.
I'm Jason.
It's nice to meet you guys. So we actually have several different businesses. We do business level coaching for business owners. We don't do sales. We do just the mindset coaching of what it takes to run a business and make sure that you're in the place where you need to be before you bring in the sales team and train them. And do you have everything in place before you bring the sales team in? And it doesn't make any, like you were talking about that $200 ticket, you know, that's the problem. Because obviously you haven't done your cost of doing business and you don't know what it's going to take for you to run your business by the hour. And you have to know that before you do anything else. It's a big thing.
Absolutely.
And I also do content management, social media management for local businesses. I like to stick in the trades, but I've got just about every type of client right now.
Yes.
I-
have photographers,
Daycare
plumbers,
center, plumber, HVAC,
HVAC.
all of it. So I love the trades, grew up in the trades. I recently stepped away from electrical contracting business, not
Somewhat
necessarily the
recent, yeah.
trade, but yeah, I love what we're doing. We've got 4 different podcasts that we do. We've got the Everyday Moments, which is our basic family life, and we talk about just everyday topics and share who we are. And then we've got the Feral Business Owner podcast, which is we're just figuring shit out. We've got the Construction Solutions group, which is where we talk everything solutions for your business. And then what's the last one again? Oh, mine. The Jennifer Clements.
Well, we're live on all of the platforms.
All of the platforms. Yeah.
I went ahead and added
There you go.
CSG, the groups, the YouTube pages,
Yes.
FBOs on there, which is
Yes.
Feral Business Owners.
Yeah.
And then our personal pages are also there too. So
Yeah. So
we're live on all
of them. Yeah. So the Jennifer Clements, and that just talks about me and the trades, being a woman business owner, my struggles, tips, all that good stuff. We've got a different channel for different types of content. I kind of believe that to be important, is that, you stick to your niche for your type of content, and you'll drive your followers more than just dropping random shit.
Absolutely.
So yeah, that's who we are.
Right on. So, and we also like to dig in to these types of conversations.
Oh my God, yes.
So this is really important for us to help other business owners. And that's really our goal overall. And that's why we created these podcasts, because we really want to make a reach out to small business, large business, doesn't really matter, but we want to make a difference in business,
Right.
and help start changing people's mindsets.
Yeah. How often as a business owner, and I know this, I wasted and signed a contract with the SEO company and wasted $26,000 and got nothing. There was no growth. There was no reports. There was no nothing. But also
You got something, but you got nothing.
But also to that point, I was not educated on what questions to ask. I was 100% invested in trust of that company, but didn't have enough education to know what to ask to make sure I was getting what they promised me.
Yes. And so this podcast today will give you those questions to ask.
Yep.
So everyone, please pay close attention to the questions to ask your SEO guys.
Yeah. Yes.
And also, when we get through with this, if you don't like your people that you're using, obviously you can reach out
Yes.
in this chat or directly to us, and we'll hook up everyone.
And even if you think you're having success, or you feel like you're having success, I feel like that's the time to go out and start doing your market research. If you truly feel like, don't wait until desperation, because I feel like some of the most catastrophic decisions and choices happen when you're desperate. So go out and search why you are still feeling like you're getting results. Go out and look, go out and test the market. Like, the best thing I can compare it to is like shop for a car before you need a car.
Yeah.
Go out and test the market for your SEO and find other companies and see what they're doing, and then challenge the company that you're with.
Yeah. Try it before you buy it.
Yeah.
In that case. Sure.
You got your 2 kiddos on here. They're cheering you on.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jonathan. They're like, I love you, Dad. Go, Dad. So
Yeah, when I was going to get on, they were like, I want the link. I want to watch. I was like,
Yeah, that's awesome.
It was pretty awesome. Our kids do the same thing.
yes.
They'll be in the living room and they'll all be watching from the living room.
That's so funny. And do they have the delay? Is there a delay?
Yeah, they have a huge delay. They just said hi again.
Yeah.
So.
That's so funny.
All right. Well, let's deep dive in.
Let's get started.
I think typically people really start rolling in to these lives about 30 minutes in. We're almost there.
Yeah.
So it really starts gaining traction. I don't know how many y'all watch or do of these, but as far as what I can tell from our experience, about 30 minutes in, everybody just starts blowing up. So we currently have 10 people in the room. We can just start slow and then kind of really bounce into it in about 10 minutes.
Let's
So
do
you're
it.
saying save the secrets for about 10 minutes from now.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Well, well.
Because I have some that I'm trying to get out into the space right now because I want to be known first for this thing that's coming out, because I believe that I warned everybody about the E that was coming in EEAT. I have another E that I believe is coming, and I want to warn everybody about that. So I want to get that word out on that as well.
Ooh.
There's
Now I'm
another
interested.
E coming. There's another E coming to the algorithm that nobody knows about yet. But Google's
God,
giving
why do
clues.
they have to change stuff daily?
That's how they keep the spammers and gamers and the real people getting real services that actually don't scam them. So Google is working to everybody's benefit, and they're continually fighting. So we can't act like spammers and gamers, meaning we have to do it correctly and by the book and like professionals. And Google will treat us that way and give us if we act like spammers and gamers and do mass productions and mass backlinking and all that kind of stuff, Google's going to treat you like you're a scammer. In today's day and age, the new E is to get rid of the spammers and gamers and get more in alignment with what people actually want, so that more people use it and get real good stuff out of it. So the game is about getting rid of the gaming. And so we don't have to play games. The cool thing about what we teach and train is we do less work and get 10 times more results. Because it's not about tasks anymore. When you think we're just doing tons and tons and tons and tons and tons and tons and tons, that's the old Google model, old Google algorithm. If you hear anybody saying they're doing tons of backlinks, tons of anything, if tons comes out of their mouth or multiple actions, like what, that's too much. Google goes, that's not natural, that's spamming, that's gaming. You may not be penalized just yet, but the algorithm, as people are seeing, and as we're even seeing in SpyFu and other instruments, that the traffic is going down. The April update, just different updates or whatever, or you can see having a mass impact on people who've been gaming and spamming and mass content creation using AI and stuff like that without focusing on user intentions.
No, I'm watching the stream, so I'm not looking at the TV.
So, Joseph, I'm curious on, can you talk through what the approach was, like keywords and getting results?
Yes.
Probably for like a long period of time. And then when these changes started happening, I personally think a lot of it has to do with AI, that they, like Google kind of says, well, if quantity was the ruler of, they wanted a lot of content. Now they have that content. They've got, 20 plus years of content. They don't feel like they need any more. And now with AI and ChatGPT-4, it's like someone could literally go, write me 1,000 pieces of blogs a day, right? So they know that game is not going to be the winner. So they want the quality now. So kind of what has been the winner of keywords over the last, X amount of time. And then that'll be the good stuff when more and more people start getting on of the new results. What you got to do to win today?
Well, just to explain, as people are coming on, the big game, and then again, I'll go ahead and explain it, is EAT. EAT is kind of EAT. Yeah, EAT was the original algorithm that kind of explained the replacement and deprecated the old algorithms based on backlinks, the number of backlinks, and based on domain authority. And we still use domain authority, but it's now a different algorithm that creates that authority. That's what I want to say. EAT uses a different algorithm to create authority. It's not now about volume. It's also about topical relevance. It's about, and again, the EAT also includes authoritativeness. And the authoritativeness is based on how prolific the content writer is of the content, meaning Google's no longer going to give AI credit for content, no longer going to give your outsourced writer for content. If there's not an author box attached to the content that links back to a real person or entity, you will be penalized. That is a thing. If anybody's listening, if there any content on any of your web pages, blog or otherwise, that do not have an author box that points back to a real person, you will be punished and you won't be ranked anymore. Because the authoritativeness part of it is that you have to be a real person producing content. Otherwise, you're a gamer, a spammer in Google's eyes. If you're not identified as the writer of this topic, and then they're going to use your expertise to determine whether you have the credentials to even rank that content. So if it's for home services And that content on that builder's website isn't written by the builder that's got a certification on that good or whatever, they will be outranked. They won't rank for that. A person that actually has their expertise attached to their article will outrank you all day long, any day. And that's the different changes. Meaning if we're using E, we can't just do it like a gamer and spammer anymore. We have to have real credentialed people attached to our real content. And then the extra E that just came out was experience. And what's experience? You're like, well, experience of the person. No, experience of the customer. So if that article that you just produced, or that blog article, what does that need? That needs a testimonial from the customer on that page. Why? Because that provides experience. Also on your pages, customer testimonial videos, anything that's from the customer that can say this product is good. That's what reviews are. Remember, reviews is customer experience. How is the experience of the product, of the actual service or whatever from the customer's point of view? That's the new E. And then what I'm going to tell as people are coming on, the last E I think is going to be coming out and be announced here within the next 6 months is engagement. Mm-hmm. The new GA4, the new tracking has a new metric. It's called engagement. So the engagement metric that's now in the Google Analytics is now, I believe, a new algorithmic update, which is now going to be looking for, did that content also get engagement? Meaning you may have had a blog article, but a blog article with 0 comments, does that deserve to rank? I ask the listeners, if you have a blog article that has 0 comments, is that a good blog article? No, it's not. Meaning if it has no engagement, then it's worthless. It's spammed. It's gamed. It's junk. It's AI written. Nobody's engaging with it. Who cares about it? Google's going to stop caring about it. So if your blog articles don't have a comment on them, they're not going to get ranked. If your blog articles aren't shared to social media and have a like on it, it's not going to get ranked. Meaning
what I'm hearing is basically there's going to be jobs generated for people to go out and boost people.
Yes.
Like there's going to be people who are paid to go and comment on these blogs and share these blogs. Like that's going to be the new content creator position, is going to be commenting on people's stuff, sharing people's stuff. Like that's going to be a new job.
Correct. And that's one of the things that we teach in our new framework, even with Jonathan's team, is that that's a part of that job. Meaning you have to tell the customer to get the review from the client. Meaning it's going to be your job to follow up to get that review, to follow up to get that link, to follow up. Meaning no longer are you a backlinker. Now you're a follow-upper. You know what I mean? Like, because in reality, you've got to connect. How we look at Eat in HumJam is it's like connecting dots. In entity dots, basically. So you got to connect the dot from the article to the person who wrote the article to the person who's enjoying the article, right? Who's reading the article, and that's got to be all connected. Meaning, so in the Eat algorithm, it's saying, does this have the engagement? Does this have the expertise? Meaning, was it written by somebody who was credible? Does it have the authoritativeness? Meaning, is this a prolific writer who's had a history of good engagement, good likes, good feedback, good reviews? Is there a history there? And that's why you want to make sure, if you're doing mass content creation, you can create a ghostwriter and start building their authoritativeness and then use them for all your products. You know what I mean? Like you could build a ghostwriter for HVAC, a ghostwriter for your dentist market, a ghostwriter for your plumbing market, and then start building their authoritativeness, and you could build that. But that's what you need to do. Or what we say in the home service hustle world is attach the articles to the owner of the company, because the owner of the company, as the author, even though they're ghost written by his team, it's still going to come from the owner of the company, attached to their LinkedIn, attached to their Better Business Bureau. So it's going to look like it's coming from the owner of the company. And that's what we're also training, is to make sure that your content writers are writing from the perspective of the owner of the company. Even if you're using ChatGPT or Jasper or whatever, we say, write from the perspective of the owner of an HVAC industry, this article, meaning create it as if you own this company in this HVAC industry. And then that language is what's going to look like and have more authoritativeness or more expertise or whatever on the content than just ghost written by any random stranger. Meaning that connecting the Eat dots And then the trust is the put together of all that, meaning the engagement dot, the comment dot, the authoritative dot, the check back to the Better Business Bureau, the check back to the LinkedIn, the check back to the YouTube testimonial video. All those dots create that last trust that literally, if you connect these correctly, your rankings skyrocket. Like you see, I got graphs that you'll see once we turn on the E, you're like, whoa, what's that popcorn? You can see the dead body coming back to life when you enable all these dots.
Wow, that's awesome. Like, I can't wait. And we've got some questions rolling in. So keep those questions rolling in. We're going to address those at the end. These are all really, really great questions that are coming in so far. So keep them coming. We will ask these at the very end and address them. So hang tight because they've got a ton more information to throw at us. And it's going to be like drinking from a fire hose. So save the live, save the link so that you can go back and rewatch this because there's so much more coming.
Yeah, because Jonathan knows the way you take that eat that we were just talking about. The engagement's good. The expertise is good. The authoritativeness, all that's the framework. But guess where the magic is, right, Jonathan? Is in the actual keywords.
Yep.
That's the magic because a lot of people, and again, we're doing a little bit more training because what you want is what does the customer want? They have services and they have areas of people that need those services and they have what is the thing that they book, make the most money, make the most profit, that kind of thing. So if we're being paid by a client to increase their revenue, like Jonathan was talking about earlier, the increasing of their revenue versus just getting them traffic, we would then gear that keyword research to, again, our process is super simple. What are your services? HVAC repair, filter installation, name all your services. Okay, great. What are all your areas? Norcross, Atlanta, Alpharetta, Georgia, okay, now, great. What are we going to do? We're going to find all the people in those areas that need those services, and we're going to get your business where those people are coming to you for those services. Does that make sense?
It does.
So
and
yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, I have a question in regards to that. You're talking about areas. What is the radius, or is there a radius for Google that says, like, do they cap you out as far as your service area? Where do you start reaching a friction point with competitors in your actual area?
Yeah, that's a great question. And there's no friction point in that Google doesn't care who's competing with who. They don't care. They just want the best result to win, and they'll rank it, meaning they're a ranking system, not a winning system. Okay, you don't win with Google, you rank with Google. So what they're going to do is find the best one that's going to be positioned at the top, if that makes sense.
But to be clear, that's where we need to, there's difference between SEO and Google Maps.
Yes.
Right? So
correct.
Google Maps, you're going to cap out to an extent based off of your location, right? So if you're in Atlanta, Georgia, like you're not going to be able to own the entire, metroplex of Atlanta more than likely. And that's why people are going to start.
Unless you do certain things. There's certain things. Yeah.
Right. You can go get multi-locations and you can sync or link those locations together and we're going to talk about that on the second part of this. We're going to look at some geo grids. Now, taking that same location, right? Maybe you take a 13 by 13 square mile location. Well, in central Arkansas, we could light that entire 13 by 13 grid up. Well, you lay that same 13 by 13 grid over like Tampa, Florida, like it's going to cover millions and millions of people. Like you're not going to be able to do it with one location. But when an SEO, like what you're talking about, content driven from the website, and you service 30 cities, you can rank organically for all 30 cities with the right strategy. Because Google doesn't care. They don't, like Joe said, it's a winning system, or it's a ranking system, not a winning system to them. So if you're putting better content and you've got the better keyword strategy, you can win all 30 of those cities.
And the number one ranking factor for that GMB is NAP, the name, address, phone number of the location. So the closest to that location in that search is actually going to be the number one ranking factor. And that's what you're talking about, meaning the competitiveness. But you can branch out to all those other dots that he's talking about by connecting local pins or pins that are from the local area to content that's driven around that geographical area or location. Meaning if you drop a picture, like a before and after picture of a home service installation from, say, Norcross, but your NAP is in Atlanta, but you have that pin now on your website with a job that was completed, with a thumbs up that it was a great job. Now you're going to be found in that map pack because you have a local. So when Google crawls that site, it's going to crawl that pin and see that that pin matches that search, and now you're going to show up for that search.
That's phenomenal. What did you say NAP stands for again? I'm taking an act. You're throwing so many.
You got to take notes.
I am.
Yeah. Name, address, phone number.
Phone number.
Yeah, and that's the #1 ranking signal for your GB or your map pack, meaning who's ever the closest to that address and that search is going to show up in that, unless there's another pin with a better search content, meaning an article with that keyword, with that pin is going to show up better than one that didn't have that.
Wow.
Meaning there's pieces to hook up. Like, you know, if you hook the chain up, it's magical.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
this is good stuff. This
Awesome.
is such good stuff. Like I am blown. I'm just blown away. All right.
Awesome.
So what's next?
I say we talk about the keywords.
Yeah.
And so I want to be fully transparent here, because that is what one of our core values are at Cornerstone, transparency. And I want to talk about what we've done and what I believe everyone has done in the past, all of our competitors, you know, as well. And one of the big changes that we've made based off of the training from HumJam and what Google, you know, algorithm is saying you need to change and make different. What we've always done is we've had our traditional most popular keywords in the industry, right? So HVAC, plumbing, electrical, you have your pack of keywords. And typically that number can range from 100 to several, many hundred. Like we run reports now. We're like, well, this company's trying to rank for 700 or 800 keywords. It's more than likely never, ever going to happen. And what we're seeing is when we're running these very detailed keyword research now, what we're seeing is that you take, you know, 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 pages on the website are ranking or trying to rank for 30, 40, 50 of these keywords. So the other thing you got to think of, if you take one page or one piece of content on the website that's ranking for 50 keywords, Google's never going to let that one article or one piece of content rank for all 50 of those. It's never going to happen.
No.
But that's what we're seeing. So now what we've done is we had our 200, 300, 400 pack of keywords. We put it in, and it's like we were throwing shit at the wall and seeing what was going to stick and just hoping for the best. You know, what's
and that's a common strategy. That's not uncommon.
We actually do that every day.
Yeah.
And so what we found now is that not only were we doing it wrong, and to say we were doing it wrong, if we wrote enough content, we were going to get good rankings on a lot of those keywords. But here's the problem. Joseph went into and audited a lot of our accounts, actually all of our accounts in the beginning. And he was like, man, do you know you've got Google Search Console hooked up to your reporting dashboard, right? And I was like, yeah. And he goes, some of your accounts, he goes, let's go in and look at one. And he showed me, and he goes, well, what do you see on this keyword list? And I was like, I mean, it looks pretty damn good to me. Like I'm scrolling and they're all on page 1, position 1. He's like, yeah, you like that, huh? I said, yeah. Then he goes, all right, well, let's go to Google Search Console. And he goes, let's look at the total traffic that's come in for all these keywords. And it was pathetic. It was like, so if your clients or, you know, a competitor of yours knew how to get in here and look at this, they would destroy you because there's no traffic going to these keywords. But the keywords, guys, looked pretty good in my eyes. But the market, the competitors and the market have to determine what keywords are most valuable. Because I'll tell you right now, in one market in Miami, in one market in Dallas, and one in New Mexico, and one in Portland, Oregon, and one in New York City, the people that are searching and how they search it and the keywords they're using are going to be completely different. Mm-hmm. So now the strategy that we've been taught, Joseph's business partner is a genius when it comes to the keyword research part of this. And he shot a video for our team doing this for to put it together for a client that we're using 100 keywords. All right. So now our programs are 25, 50, or 100 keywords. But once those get locked in, they're done. The client agrees on it, and we're not changing it because we're going after the most competitive and the best keywords that have the most traffic going to them. And now the strategy we're going to put together is going to be, how do we dominate? How do we rank for these keywords? That's the ones that have the traffic going to them. So his business partner, Joey, he shot a video. He didn't make an introduction, guys. He didn't say, hey, guys, Joey here, going to shoot this video for Cornerstone. No, he got on with his earbuds in, and he just started working and recorded himself doing it. It took
4 hours of doing keyword research.
4 hours. 4 hours. And he can do this with his eyes closed, blindfolded. It took him 4 hours. So my team, it's taken them, 12, 14, 16 hours to do this the right way. But when you do it the right way, it's one time, because now that's the strategy. You're not going to move from it. Right? You're not going to move from those keywords. And then you're going to start figuring out the strategy based off of the competitors that are currently ranking for it. And then one thing that y'all, we talked about yesterday, the DA score is super important in this. And what I'm finding right now, and Joseph, correct me if I'm wrong, did the DA score not matter as much in the past? Because it seems like people haven't been paying attention to it as I'm running some of these rankings.
It mattered. It definitely mattered in the past, but it mattered more for global searches, not quite as much for local. But the DA now is attached to the new EAT. So
pause. What is DA score for everybody?
Domain authority. And sometimes it's called PA because really DA only matters. PA matters more than DA. PA stands for page authority, and that's because Google ranks pages, not domains. Now, the reason why we look at the DA is because what do you do for what you should do for every piece of content is internally link. So you send all your backlink or all your traffic or your GB, your directory listings, all that stuff goes to the homepage. So your homepage gets more backlinks than any other page on that's why you look at the DA, which is you see the domain authority but the DA is just the homepage authority. Each page is going to have its own PA. So if you have a page in the blog that has 0, it's not going to rank. So how does that blog go from a 0 to at least a 2 or a 3? Because you internally link it from the homepage down through to that content that juices up that content to give it some PA. And then so you're really looking at PA, who's got the highest PA and is going to win in the searches. So it's about authority now for local business, and it is still about backlinking for organic. But now the change in the algorithm is not just about DA backlinking anymore. It's about topical relevance. So Google now looks at the words recency and frequency before and after the backlink and determines if that's topically relevant to the content it's pointing to. If it's not going to give it the authority. Meaning in the past, it would pass on the authority, but now it's more about topical relevance, meaning you can get higher PA from a church website to a local business than you can from a Chinese forum post that's a 99. Do you know what I'm saying? Meaning if you take a high DA from China down like they used to do in Fiverr to a backlink or whatever, that used to work, that doesn't work anymore. A lower PA or DA link that's more topically relevant in the local space or even in the global space works better. So Google's honing it down again to EAT, which is making it more topically relevant, more in alignment, it's not gaming anymore. You got to get the gaming out. And so DA now, local DA is now built on what we call authority citation portfolio. That's a word you're going to write down, but that if you want to sound like an expert in this space, use the word authority citation portfolio. And all that means is that your website is found in the best directories, Angie's List, House, homeservices.com. Meaning your web, if you're a home services company, you got to be found in the top authority-based directories. Because if you were a business, isn't that what you go do? I'm starting a business. I got to go get in the Yellow Pages. I got to go get in Yelp. That's what you do. And Google will now give you domain authority for doing that. If you're a local business and you're not doing that, who are you trying to to fake out. You know what I mean? Google wants to know you're a real business, so you're going to do the Yelp, you're going to do the Angie's List, you're going to do the Yellow Pages, you're going to do the Better Business Bureau. That's a must, meaning that's your authority citation portfolio, and there's about 50 of these. I think Jonathan's team has about 500. But that's over a period of 1 to 2 years. We'll build this authority citation portfolio. They'll build a local domain authority rank that's based on the NAP, the name, address, phone number is consistent on all these directories, which increases your trust. Meaning the NAP that's consistent across directories, your trust score goes up. Because now they know that if they call this number, they're going to get you. You're going to be the person to answer the phone.
Let me give an
great
analogy.
information.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll
So
give
that
an analogy real quick.
Yeah.
So this will help, right? So the analogy I like to give people with the NAP and the NAP is more and more important now than it's ever been, right? Everybody in the digital marketing world has been talking about NAP, and it's really just been a way to, I think, run some reports and confuse some people at times or whatever. But here's the analogy that people understand NAP. It's as if you were to take a trip to New York City and you walk out in the middle of Manhattan and you say, I want to go eat some New York pizza, right? And but I want to go eat the best New York pizza there is. And you start asking, and you go up to 10 different people, and 10 different people tell you the same exact place to go. And they go, listen, you go 2 blocks down here, you take a left, it's on the corner, and you go, all right, I'm going. All right. But then if you go up to 10 different people and 10 different people tell you 10 different places, how confused would you be? You wouldn't know where to go and which one to choose. Well, that's the way Google is, because, Jennifer didn't know that, Google and things existed on other parts of the world, right? Well, it's global. There's literally hundreds of millions of listings that are on Google. So Google needs some assistance, and they need help with, people are searching and people expect it to pop up, boom, and they want results, and they want whatever information that they search for, they want to see. That's what we've got accustomed to. We want it now. So Google's like, well, we need to make sure that it's accurate and that it's not going to confuse our customers, because Google wants people to be on their platform as much as they can. So you need to make sure that your information is consistent across the entire, wherever you're listing yourself. If they see that you have a different address, which is known because people change their locations, they grow bigger, they downsize. If you have inconsistent name, address, or phone number, and it could be from years ago and you didn't even know, but make sure that your marketing company is running some search to find out. That's right.
That's why it's called search engine optimization, which requires a lot of cleaning, auditing, cleanup. There's a lot of cleanup work to do when optimizing, and making fresh and better. So, but cool stuff.
That is awesome. There's a lot of and I'm popping in some comments too about things that I had heard in the past about SEO. So I can't wait to get to these to the end, because a lot of people are popping into and dropping some really good stuff. So I just keep going. I just am so excited.
Everybody's pumped.
Everybody is so pumped.
I'm getting direct messages.
Yes. Same.
On all platforms.
Yes. Yeah. And I love that when the more Jonathan talks, the more excited he gets. And you can tell if he could stand up and speak right now, he would.
He'd be throwing arms.
That's so funny.
Yes. I love it.
Well, because listen, one thing that I've always been passionate about, my wife will literally, if I'm home and I'm doing I'm talking to a customer or something, she'll start shoving towels underneath the door, and she starts holding her ears, because she's like, you have this different voice that either when you're talking to one of your current clients or you're selling someone, you come up with this different voice. And it's I get excited because I am a business owner. I own multiple businesses. It's not rainbows and butterflies, right? My executive assistant yesterday, when I came out of one of my meetings, she looked at me and she's like, I don't envy you. Right. And it's because it's, all of us here all own businesses. There's struggles. Right. But one thing that we can do is I can relate with my clients because they own a small business. And if they don't hit their goals, they may not be able to send their kids to college or take that next vacation. So I take it really personal, And so I want to make sure
I'm told I do the same thing. I have a different voice for different things.
You do. You do. Yeah. I'm always like, my phone voice went to Harvard.
Oh no.
It's true. But like, and to that, like business owners, sometimes it's not even about those extravagancies, about paying for college or the vacation. Sometimes it's just about keeping the doors open.
Yes.
Sometimes it's just about the bare minimum. And ultimately, most of the time, by the time contractors or business owners are looking for you and talking to you, they are probably just weeks away from their doors closing and giving up.
Mhm.
Like, honestly. And so that's why I gave the cautionary earlier of look now. Like, have conversations
Yes.
now. Put this in your back pocket now, because you're going
Don't wait until you're there.
No, because right now is busy season for us guys. Like,
While
as
you have
soon
the
as-
money and you're busy,
Yes.
spend the money now.
Yes. Like,
Yeah.
start putting your money into SEO and stuff now, because ultimately you're just going to do yourself a favor while people are already looking for it. Instead of having to get that momentum ball rolling, it's already rolling. So make the switch now while it's busy season, while you've got the phones ringing, and add to that.
Yeah, look, I talked to a business owner just yesterday. 5:30 my time. It was 3:30 in California. I knew the guy needed to speak to me. He had texted me earlier in the week. I would normally just pass it on to one of my sales guys, but I was like, I've talked to this guy in the past, and there's a reason he's reaching out like this. And I talked to him, and he's a plumbing company out in California. And I'm telling you, it was all over his face. And at the end of the call, I was like, man, listen, like I see that you're hurting right now. And because he was willing to, like, Jonathan, tell me if it would make more sense, because all these marketing companies keep telling me that I'm in too big of a competitive market, and I don't have enough money to spend. If I need to pick up my business, and if you found another location like in California and told me this place would be better, and he was willing to pick up his business and move. Because he goes, I can't keep doing this and starving and suffering the way that I am. And I was like, man, look, like picking up and moving isn't the answer, right? Because you're going to be starting over from scratch in a new city somewhere. People need to understand. I did a webinar recently and had Dan Antonelli on it from Kick Charge, all right? And he's got a book out there, Branded, Not Blanded. Yep. Guys, I want you to know it's one of the hardest things to put money into your brand, because your branding campaigns do not give you instant return back on your investment. All right. There's a reason why every kid and every parent knows what those damn golden arches are. No one has to say anything. We know what McDonald's is. If we were to hear the twist of a bottled drink and that noise that it makes, us, at least everyone on this call, would know that Coca-Cola, those commercials that, and it was like, right? Because that's brand, right? That's not we have a Coca-Cola, buy one, get one free. That is a call to action, right? That is going to be a marketing campaign, or, where you're trying to, or a lead generation campaign. There is a difference. But I will tell you, the stronger your brand is, the better all of your other ads and stuff are going to convert. So when I hear people go, man, I'm desperate, I don't know what to do. I'm throwing money at Yelp. I'm throwing money at the coupon things that come in the mail. I'm throwing it direct mail. But guys, listen, stop throwing this huge cast net and stop throwing everything at the wall and seeing what sticks, and try to get hyper focused. All right. So get hyper focused on your SEO. Make sure that you're actually going after the right keywords that have traffic going to them. Because HVAC repair, you would think that is a very competitive keyword. And it is in certain markets, but it's not in all the markets, right? So like, stop just using keywords because that's the pack of keywords that your marketing company uses. And I'm telling you, like, if it takes this guy's business partner 4 hours to do it, and he could literally do it blindfolded in his sleep, and it's taken my team 2 or 3 days to put one together for a new client, guys, like this isn't something that can just be taken lightly. You need to find the right keywords that have the traffic, and then you have to have a very specific content strategy that you're going to run to be able to hit those results. And here's the other thing I'll tell you. We started talking about PA and DA. Here's what I want you to know. If your DA, right, and we can drop the link. Joseph, will you drop the link in the comments, and then Jennifer and Jason can grab it, put it everywhere else. to
Yeah.
Ahrefs, to the DA tracker, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Anybody that's listening here, put your domain in here, right? This isn't our tool. It's not Joseph's tool. This is a major industry software tool that's used. Check your DA score and check some of your competitors. But here's what I want to tell you. Not guaranteed, but 90-ish% times, if your DA is a 2 and your competitor is a 20, I don't care how much content you write, you're not going to take a ranking from the competitor that has a 20 and you have a 2, right? So if you're not looking at these things as a business owner, take things like this and let us help educate you. But if your marketing company is not being straight with you, and I'm just telling you, it's like, oh, my ranking's moving up. Well, if it's moving from the 50th spot and all of a sudden it goes to the 48th and the 42nd, great. But it's going to stay stagnant and it's going to plateau at some point. Because if you're not working on that DA score and getting it up to what your competitors are, you're just not going to outrank them. It's not going to happen.
No, it's not going to happen. Okay, to that, a quick tip. I mean, I guess before you show us this heat map and everything, how would you recommend that what's your first step in rising or raising that DA score or PA score?
It's backlinks, but I'm gonna let Joseph give tips and things.
Yeah, so the backlinks, again, talk about the topical relevance, but the first thing to do for local business, bless you, bless you. The first thing for local business is that citation authority portfolio, meaning that's going to get your DA score going up super fast for any local business that would qualify for Yelp or for House or for Angie's List or any of those particular things. You're going to want to and my partner always even says, the paid is better because the paid actually does a do follow link versus a no follow. All the free stuff is usually a no follow link, which kind of has weight, but doesn't necessarily have weight. But the paid ones have do follows and have high authority. So that gets passed on to you and it's a local citation authority. So I'm not sure. Am I still in the call?
You are. We can see
Oh,
you.
okay. I was like,
We put you up because you were talking.
Yeah.
You scared me there for a second. I was like,
No, you're good.
but it's basically the local citation authority is kind of what builds that DA for the local clients. Now, any backlinks or guest posting was a big thing, or anything that you can create. We still recommend that anything that builds the authoritativeness of your site, from infographics that get links, directories that you have on your site, maybe to other stuff. If you're a local service HVAC, you may have, here's our local electrician, or here's our local, you have a directory that people backlink to. Anything that makes you a local authority, any backlinks from a church website, from another directory, from somebody in your industry or whatever, those count more than, say, if you went and bought it from a backlinking company or a Fiverr or something like that. That doesn't affect as much as today as does the connected, topical, relevant to your local area, to your topic backlink. That matters more and builds your DA more. So you can do that on a day-to-day basis. We always say friends or even people that are close in the same home services niche. Most of the home services, if you're an air conditioner, an electrician, a plumber, those people, you could link to each other. You could say, hey, let's do a thing and link this article to this article. Y'all could easily do that, or, have an SEO team do that. And that would actually work better than getting gaming links. So any domain authority built by topically relevant and or stuff that's completely connected to your niche, to your local authority, is going to build that DA up. And that PA, if it comes to, say, you have a directory on your site or an infographic on your site, how to do your own self-repair, or how to know how to hire a good technician, or any of those types of infographics, get backlinks. So those backlink authorities actually help build, and if you do your internal linking structure correctly, will help build that up so Google sees you as an authority and gives you kind of that part of the EAT score, the authoritativeness. And so that's how you build the authority, is just, again, creating infographics, creating directories on your site, creating good content that other people want to link to, that's useful to other people, like consumer service-based content. Like, how to make sure you hire the right, how to not get screwed by your service industry or any of those types of consumer report stuff. Get great backlinks, and then you can build authority, and it's topically relevant. So there's a lot of stuff, but the old world of backlinking is totally different than the new world, which is now more, let's find real people, real connective sites, real friends, real people to actually say, look, we're real, we're legit. And the more you connect those legit pieces up, Google recognizes that. It makes it easy. Yeah. So, and the easier thing that you can do for your clients is list them, meaning build that citation. I think in our plans, we have 15 to 20 citations a month. So you want to keep adding and keep putting people. So if they're a certain HVAC niche, they need to be in all the HVAC directories, meaning there's a bunch of directories in that niche. And if your client's in that niche, should also be in all those directories. And if they're not, they need to be, meaning that goes on the task list. So you got hundreds of those that Jonathan's team's working towards, because what we call as authoritative citation portfolio, not just a citation portfolio, one that's made up of topically relevant and high DA based links that come back to your directories that will then do either no follow or do follow, depending on if you pay for it or not pay for it. But that's basically how you build that domain authority in the local services niche. In the other niches, if it's a global niche, you could still build a domain authority, but it's all, it's just getting backlinks. But again, in the new algorithm, it's not just about the volume or DA, it's now about the topical relevance. Topical relevance is a huge key in today's day and age.
Wow. That's just that's just mind blowing. So you would recommend having like on your website, maybe like a link to the people that you would, or like a page for like, this is who we refer to, for instance, like, hey, we refer to this company if it's outside of our realm. You would recommend that?
100%.
It'll help because
it'll help both companies.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
It'll help both companies and Google loves cross-pollination.
Okay.
As long as it's topically relevant and connected or whatever, they think that's great. Meaning that's a great piece for them.
Yeah. So if you're like in HVAC, it's not like you would want to put a link to like a beauty specialist. You would want to stick like trades oriented type stuff.
Exactly. And if you did a beauty specialist, that wouldn't count because that'd be like not topically relevant. That would be like a gaming.
So Joseph, can we talk about local pen? Are we?
Yeah.
Still. All right. So he's got a training session to go do with my team, but let's talk about this real quick, and then we'll let him go, and we'll talk about the GMB stuff. Yeah. So Joseph and his team of developers and stuff have been working on a new software that's going to take the industry like by storm. And part of this amazing relationship that I have with these guys, I was able to finagle my way in and get the exclusive rights to the home service side of this. So just want to kind of talk about, it's in beta. We've tried to pull it out a few times, but it'll be coming out of beta very soon, right, Joseph?
It's alpha tested with a few companies. There's even we even have a HVAC niche that's tested it really well. We've tested in Europe, but we have a new version that was rolling out right when we were rolling out with you. So that's why it was kind of, and then ChatGPT 4 and all of their new updates kind of weaned in. But we're going to be rolling out with you this week for sure.
I love that.
So, or next week, because my partner is sick too. So as you know, but we're definitely going to be rolling it out, because the new version we've been waiting on is ready. That's why we've been waiting on updates for you, because we've been waiting on the new version, but the new version is ready. So we're rolling it out next week. With all heart.
Yeah. So to get just the 30,000 foot overview here, it is going to be an app that will be on the technicians or the installers or whoever's phones or tablets, and you're going to take a before and after photo of the job that you were doing. And from that, and then you'll leave a short description. So let's think of it as, you're a plumbing company and you just installed a new tankless water heater. You were taking out a tank, and you're like, just removed an old blah blah, whatever manufacturer tank, and just put in this new whatever manufacturer, tankless water heater. From there, that's it. Before photo, after photo, description of what was done. And then from there, ChatGPT-4 is connected. It is integrated with the software, and it will then write a location-based specific blog using the location of those photos that it picks up on. It will write the blog. It will write a location-based GMB post. It will write social content to go to Facebook and Instagram and whatever. You can then take a video and get a video testimonial from one of your customers in the field, and it'll write the description of that photo and will actually like post it as a reel or a short or whatever. But not only like is that not just enough mind blowing in itself that what it will do for you, but it's so localized, right? So it's plugging into the new Google algorithm and the updates because it wants that local, authoritativeness. And that's what it's going to be doing. And I'll let Joseph throw in any extra, cherry on top he wants of what this is going to be, but it's going to be super special.
Yeah. So imagine so they have an iPhone, Android app. And so the local technician takes a before picture and it tags it. Our AI tags the picture and says, we're looking at a plumbing repair. It looks like it had mold. So our AI scans the picture for any tags that it can find that Google will also find
That's awesome.
on that picture. Yeah. So we scan it like Google would scan it. Okay. Just so that we know how to title it, how to do any of that stuff. Now, what it also does, so it scans it, and then the technician, we already pre have gathered keywords and all kinds of stuff for many different niches. We don't know all of them, but if you gave us one, then we would go research it because we preload our AI. So it already has all these details about your business. It knows when you're started up. It knows you're connected to LinkedIn. It knows you're connected to Better Business. We load all these details about you. So you take pictures in the field, before picture, and then you do your work, and then you're done, and you take your after picture and you say, I'm done. And you fill out what you did. Okay. The customer had a plumbing issue. They're happy now. It's done. Here's the picture here. And so those pictures, guess what? It's attached to a GPS. So whenever you take local pictures with your iPhone, it takes the location. Location data is on all your pictures. Okay. Which is also key because we can now go to any company who have already taken before and after pictures and create new content based on all that and drop all those local pins. Because here's the key. All those pictures have local pins with that map data on it. So as soon as that content is AI created, that blog post with those pictures, those before and after pictures, all of that now, because of the content, it SEOs it, it's SEO content. It's written like it goes through 2 or 3 different human, rewrites it in human voices, rewrites it in the voice of the owner, does all that kind of stuff. And then if they happen to have the client right there, they can say, can you give me a testimonial? Do you like this? Or did you enjoy this? And if they take that, our app will even take that, rewrite that and post it and do a review, and then actually post that video to the before and after video and drop the map pins to attach that special Google Eat. Because what we've also found in our testing, that a video testimonial adds gasoline to any trust factor, meaning because it's a video of the testimonial. It's not, you can't game a testimonial. You know what I mean? You can't game a video. So if your testimonial actually has a video attached to it, that even increases it that much further in that experience score of the Eat. So our tool will take what the technician does and automatically do this. The technician doesn't create the blog post. They don't create anything. All they do is create it, take pictures, tell what they did, and ask the customer, can I get a video testimonial of this? If they say no, they could just go, well, the customer liked it, and it'll still recreate the content going, customer liked their repair of their, HVAC system that was a train, was a whatever, because the technician will say, this was a train, this was a carrier, they'll mark it on their phone when they're taking the picture, because we already know what all those keywords are. The technician will just click their phone what they're taking, and AI will also pick it up. And so this does it. So then what it does is takes that content, those pictures, writes the content, repurposes it to GB posts plus pictures, repurposes it to Facebook, to LinkedIn, to any social media that's connected, and posts that YouTube video to their YouTube channel if they had one with the testimonial video, and link that back to that article. So any of those social media properties that got created links back to the original piece of content that gets created automatically from that technician's thing. Now, it can all be done automatically where a technician clicks and it goes directly to website, or technician clicks and it goes into a queue where your team has to agree whether it's good or it's not, or can edit or whatever. Meaning it can either go in a queue where you can let the client agree whether it posts live, or you can go just free form and open it. The client's just going to post as much jobs as he clicks a button. And then the client could end up like with 50 new pages on their site if they were really, you know, going crazy. But we have credits, like, so you couldn't go crazy because our plans have, you know, 50,000 AI credits. So you couldn't like totally go crazy, you know, go past your credit base. You'd have to buy more credits, basically.
I think I'm muted.
So for us, we're going to use this two different ways, right? So we're going to, you know, our clients have the 25, 50, or 100 keywords. We're going to lock those keywords in. And the content strategy that's put together, remember, is based off of the competitors that are currently ranking for it. And what do they currently have written? What is their DA scores and PA scores? And then putting a very specific strategy together to rank for those keywords. So we're not going to deviate from that. And then the local pin, which the name of the software that we're going to roll out is called localpin.ai. We don't have the website and everything up yet. We're waiting for it to come out of the final beta stages. So he just gave me great news here that next week or the week after, we'll be rolling it out to Allheart, our client out in California. But we're still going to allow clients to let their guys use that and have that additional local, very specific content still be written. And so they're going to be getting it from multiple angles, and Google is going to love it that we're writing a strategy, a content strategy based off of the competitors and putting out something that's of better quality that we're going to be able to outrank those competitors that are already ranking for it. And then the stuff that's going to come in from the AI tool, it's going, like, Google's going to love it because it's like, man, you really are in Frisco, Texas, and you are at this customer's home, and you did just take a photo of their hot water heater and the new one that you just installed, and then you wrote content on it and you tagged all that content and you got a video testimonial from this customer right here. It's going to blow Google's mind, and we're going to see, like, really, like, when you're tapping into the EEAT of what Google's asking for, this software checks every one of those boxes over and over and over and over.
It's AIEAT.
Yeah. We're getting the whole alphabet out there.
Yeah.
All right. So are there any questions that y'all want to ask that came in? Because the technical side of things need to go to the guy that looks like an alien.
Go to the starred questions, my dear.
I'm going up.
No, you just got to click over to the stars, see where it says live and then
I
stars.
did see one. I'll tell Joseph, a guy wrote, for enterprise level companies who don't allow comments on their blogs or a share link, how does Google measure engagement?
I'm sure. So I mean, that would have to get very specific to who and what you're talking about, like Medium from Microsoft to different content like that. I would almost, especially for enterprise comments, they don't allow that because they don't want the spam or any of that kind of stuff. But I'm sure they get their authority from people linking into them because they're an authority. So they're not going to follow the same rules if they're already an enterprise level authority from that perspective. But I'm pretty sure that Google would want to see that content shared somewhere. Meaning that content, if a big company is posting it, would also post it on their Facebook, post it on their Twitter, post it on their LinkedIn, post it somewhere and see comments or engagements on those properties. Meaning social blog is what I consider social media content. Google Business is what I consider social media content. But if you yourself don't want that on your social media content, you can say no to that. But that doesn't mean you can say no to comments on your Facebook page or no to comments. Well, you can. But Google's not going to, you will be penalized on that. But a big enterprise level customer is going to have a backlinking structure from a different capacity, meaning it's not going to be there's going to be other or engagement algorithms that will apply. That's just one of them. Meaning, if you wanted to really take it to the next level, adding comments to it would probably make it go better. You know what I mean? But you go, well, our policy doesn't allow it. I can't give you a solution other than to say that you need the backlinks from somebody, or you need the engagement from somebody, where if you can't get it on your blog itself, share it to Facebook, get comments there. Because those comments will count just like comments on the blog if it comes from other sources, Twitter, LinkedIn. You know, I assume that if you're doing a blog, you're sharing that somewhere. You're not just doing a closed door blog where there's no comments, no communication, because Google would start de-ranking you for being a dead sea, meaning we don't want to communicate, we don't want to talk to nobody, we don't want nobody. Google ain't going to rank you if you're a closed door. So you've got to have an open door somewhere. And if it's your comments closed, that's fine. If you're an enterprise level client, meaning you can't take it for whatever reason, you still have to have that communication door open somewhere, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, somewhere. I mean, you can't just be closed as an enterprise level. Customers aren't closed. Microsoft is not closed. Cisco's not closed. IBM's not closed. I mean, I can go on and on and on where whoever's asking the question doesn't go along with what's reality. So if you have a policy of no comments, then I would say try to get them somewhere else.
Well, to preface I gave him the link to get in here, but he's a digital marketing company, so that's why he's asking a very technical question like that. So I'll get y'all hooked together, and he can pick your brain if he.
Meaning, there's many solutions around it. There's many solutions around the comment issue on a blog. You know what I mean? But you have to have that channel open somewhere.
Yeah. So the next question that we've got is, do you recommend using hashtags for the city you are serving at the time when posting to social media and or Google Maps?
I do. I say yes, but don't overdo it. The hashtag for the city is fine, because people will, especially if it's Twitter content or LinkedIn content, not necessarily Facebook, although Facebook, you got to be very sparingly with it. But I would say if it's LinkedIn content or Twitter content, no more than 3. A service area hashtag, service hashtag potentially, and maybe even hashtag like stay cool if it's for HVAC or whatever. You know, you could do it that way. But hashtags for Twitter and LinkedIn posts for sure.
You keep saying that name. I'm not sure what it is. What is it called?
What name?
You keep using 2 platforms. I don't. What are they?
Twitter and LinkedIn.
I've never heard.
Oh, sorry. X. Oh my God, you totally got me, dude. You got me.
I didn't know.
Just 1 X or 3?
X. It's X. Hey, but the URL is still Twitter. The URL, you didn't change it to x.com.
How
Okay.
come?
Why
I
wouldn't
don't know,
you?
but if you go to x.com, it redirects to twitter.com. So it's still twitter.com.
Interesting.
Yeah,
That
it
is interesting.
I hate it. As a marketer, I hate it.
The
Thanks for
algorithm,
that,
I'm sure.
Jonathan.
Yeah, you're
I used
welcome.
to be a Twitter guru. I actually had the best-selling ClickBank Twitter product. I was #1 ClickBank selling Twitter cash method in 2009. Was my product for Twitter, the best-selling ClickBank product.
I read all his posts. Like, I thought he was going to go postal whenever the name got changed stuff. So that's
Oh,
why
I did. I wanted to go postal when the name was changed, and I wanted to go postal when Facebook changed their name to Meta. That made me so mad.
Yeah.
I'm like, so a meta description is now what? A Facebook description? A meta title is now what? A Facebook title? No, I don't know.
So it says, when Google My Business went to Maps, it killed us. I think this person's not alone.
Yeah, totally.
Well, so here I want Joseph to comment here, and then I want to say one thing here. You know, I love maps, right? We're going to talk about it in a second.
I love maps too, but
I'm going to do a heat map scan. I'm going to do a heat map scan for someone to kind of show what they look like. But here's what we've learned from HumJam is you can really make that light up and send some social signals out by what we used to do is check boxes. We'd say, all right, well, this package you're in, you're going to get 4 GMB posts a week and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. But the thing is, those days of just checking boxes are gone. So now what we're doing is, remember the very the content strategy. It all starts with the keyword research, making sure that it is done right in the beginning. It's the keywords that have the traffic going to it. But now when we write that very specific piece of content, we're RSS feeding that content and putting it out to Facebook, putting it out to your GMB, because now you're putting that out and you're trying to tell the social networks, like, look at this very high quality specific piece of content that we're putting out, and we want to get clicks and engagement with it, which are really going to light it up. So the days of just going, all right, 5 posts a day to GMB, like that's not going to work anymore, right? It's obviously, it may be better than not posting it at all, but it's not going to have the same impact and the same reach that it used to in the past, and people need to understand that.
Yeah, and the reason, so Maps, because Maps requires a little connectivity with Google to say that you are actually on the map. And the only way to tell Google that you're on the map is with a photo that's attached to that map, or well-placed content that's also attached to the map, meaning without that. So a GB post, if that picture doesn't have the map pin, isn't going to help you get to the map, even though you may have it to the GB post. So that's kind of why you got screwed, is because, but if that picture that went to the GB post was actually taken from your iPhone, which was actually taken on site, that's going to now rank. That's why when a customer is there on site and complains about your service on Yelp or whatever, they take pictures. And those pictures are now tracked to that area that then goes against you in that local area, right? Because their phone took pictures. So that it's the pictures that actually open that map up, and or the now you have to have pages that match those map areas. And then those map areas, the way we get around it, if you don't, or if you're not taking pictures, and Jonathan knows this, is that on your service area pages, you need the local Google map pin map on that service area page of the service area. Where people make this mistake is that on every service area page, it's just the map of the actual company that's doing the service, and that's where they're missing the map. Meaning, if all your service pages need a map pin on that page, so Google crawls your page, and on that page it needs a map pin of that service area on that page in order to show up on the map. And or all your Google business posts need pictures with that area map pin to show up on the map. So if you can connect those dots, then you'll start showing up on the map. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's just dot connecting. We're just connecting dots. And if you can connect the dots, then Google goes, oh, okay, that goes with this goes with that area. They're just connecting the dots to the areas and the services. So that's why when we do keyword research, we go, what are your services and what are the areas? Because as Jonathan said, a service like HVAC repair near me may not be something we use here in Portland. We use very little air conditioning here in Portland. So we may not have the emergency services kind of keywords that you could just blanket out. So you want to find out what we're looking for here, and then specifically what people would be servicing here. We can hone that keyword may show up as only 50 searches, but guess what? If you rank number 1 for 50 searches that give you $5,000 engagements on every engagement, those 50 amount to a lot of money.
Yep.
Because what we want is what Joey calls it. What does Joey call that map, Jonathan? Do you remember?
The treasure box.
The treasure map. It's called the treasure map.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what my partner calls it. Because what does it do? One keyword, even if it's 50, but if it's 50 with the right service area and the right service, and you get ranked number 1, and it builds authority, expertise, and trust with that article, and the client sees that and engages and books, that's your money back for our services right there with one click.
Yep.
That's phenomenal. That's phenomenal. I think that's all of our questions tech-wise.
Okay.
I don't want you to be late for your training.
No, yeah, because he's training my team. If he was training somebody else's, I would say, like, stay on here, Joseph. I got more questions. But no, go train my team. And thank you so much for coming on here and helping me explain things with Jennifer and her audience.
Yes, I greatly appreciate it. And ultimately, I don't want home service industry people or people who are working incredibly hard to make a living for their teams and for their families to struggle. I want them to have the answers. I want them to have a trusted place to go and ask questions and get what it is they need to thrive. And so thank you for coming on and sharing that and giving them a place to go to find resources, to get valid information, and to have a level of confidence when coming to you and knowing that they can trust you. So thank you so much for coming on today.
Cool. Thanks so much for having me. It was great.
All right.
I can talk all day long on it.
I know.
All right, Jonathan, your turn.
All right, Joseph, thank you so much, dude. All right, so here we go. So, there was some map questions here, right? So I'm going to show some things, but then if there's any contracting companies out here watching and you want me to run a scan on your area, right? And all you got to do is drop your company name. I'll find the map URL and we will do, you can hear me, right, Jennifer?
Yep, you're good.
All right. So you drop your company name, I'll research it, I'll get the map URL, and then I just need your top service, right? So if you have, if it's plumbing and you want plumber near me, or emergency plumbing, or if it's AC and you want AC repair near me, whatever, then I'll pull it up here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen. All right, where are we at here?
All right, I got it just to you. So when you share that screen, you're going to light it up so everybody can see it.
All right, so let's go. I'll put my whole window up here so y'all can see the 9,000 tabs that I have open. Sorry, it's how my brain works. Okay, so we can see it?
Yep.
Okay, so this here is a heat map scan. And I encourage each and every one of you to do this. I will drop a link or a form or something here at the end for a way that you can submit some information, and we'll run one of these for you for free if you'd like to see it. You just need, there's multiple ways that we can scan this, but ideally this comes from Google Maps, so we need to get your map ID. And the keyword here, so this is a client of ours out in California, and then this is for AC repair near me. So you see the colors on here. We want it as green as we possibly can. Now we've ran this on the largest level. This is the 13 by 13 grid. So this is covering a very vast area. And then I will show, we'll pull up, all right, we'll pull up another one here. This is another air conditioned client of ours out in California. And again, this is spread out even more. We put a mile between each of these little nodes. You want this green, right? Because Google Maps is called the 3-pack as well, because the top 3 are the only things that shows up, and you have to see more businesses, whatever it says. And then they'll have a 20. There's a ranking of 20 there that it will show. But, just like no one goes to page 2 of Google, no one's going to go, in my opinion, past number 3, because there you can see the business name, you can see the stars, the review ratings that they have. So it's become very popular, right? There's 4 pieces of real estate currently today on any Google search. You have your, now depending on which industry it is, but let's talk about home service industry. You have LSA, also called Google Guaranteed. That comes up at the top now. It's 3 or 4 years old. It was really put into place by Google to try to compete with Angie's List and Home Advisor. Then you have your traditional PPC of Google, which is Google AdWords. Then you have Google Maps, the 3-pack, and then you have organic SEO. But when you do a Google search, Google Maps pops up there. It's big, and it covers the largest piece of real estate on that page. And it's got colors, and it's got stars, and it's got things. So it's super important. And when we see our clients that have a top 2 or 3 ranking on SEO, but they're in the 3-pack of Google Maps, we're seeing 60, 70, 80% of the leads coming from Google Maps compared to organic SEO. And that's why one of the listeners here said, when Google changed to Maps, it killed them, right? Because if you didn't have the right strategy in place and you lost all those rankings, it would hurt. But I will tell you, the ones that are winning, they're winning from Google Maps. So you want to put into place whatever strategy that you possibly can to make sure you light this thing up. Now, this here, if I scroll over here a little bit, this scan doesn't even cover, anything past this, 15, 20 mile square radius here. Well, this client also goes over here to Mateca or whatever it's called. So they also service over here. Now, I haven't ran this to see what they are in those areas, but what I just had a conversation with this client the other day and said, listen, we need another address. And he was like, I said, because if we want to keep expanding from here, we have to sync up multiple GMB locations and start creating a multi-unit strategy so we can expand further and further and further. And I'm telling you guys, if you're out there listening, figure out this strategy, reach out to someone that knows how. We'll be more than happy to talk to you through it, but you need to start looking at other pieces of real estate. I will tell you, Google is shutting down these shady multi-locations. So they'll let you use your home or a home address, but only on the first location. You try to go today, in today's day, and I'm not saying there's not people that have that way right now, but eventually they will get shut down because they're getting shut down every single day by the thousands. So if you own an air conditioning company and then you've got 7 rental homes and you've got all of those linked up as GMBs in different cities, they will get shut down eventually. Yes. But if you are in a WeWork location or a Regis or whatever they're called, those multi-unit office locations are not going to work for your second and third and fourth locations. They want you to get a real office. They say that there has to be a full-time person working out of that office. And what we're seeing now, pretty much in the last 6 months, every single one of our clients that have we're registering a second location for, they're making us do video verification. And it's strict, right? Like you got to start from the parking lot, walk with the video, show signage of some, it can be on the door. The door has to have the address, the zip code and all the information of the business. Then you've got to walk inside the business and you've got to show the video as well. So they want to see some kind of like license or certification or something up on the wall. But I'm telling you, think about it. Like depending on where you are, it's going to matter on the population and things like that. But if it's
almost like they want to see like a certificate of occupancy that like you've actually had it like looked at by the city to be like they're certified for occupancy here.
Well, because you and I've got clients that are spending anywhere between $800 to about $2,000. So they're finding little small offices, right? And they're putting some equipment in there, maybe that it just makes it an easier choke point for one of their guys because now they have their main office and now they've got these satellite offices. So it could still be a place where you could have equipment and your guys don't have to go as far to one of the supply houses or whatever. But think about if this client here, their office is in Salida. All right. Well, they do a lot of work in Modesto. Luckily for us, they just bought out a church in Modesto that they are like turning into a huge warehouse and a new office location. Well, I told him like, well, can we get it certified and verified now? And he was like, well, I agreed to let them extend their time in the church for right now while we're getting, some things ready on the other side of the building. And I was like, however, can we go ahead and get it verified? Because if we can get it verified, I'm like telling the client, I'm like, if we were to light the map up in Modesto, like it could be worth $1 million, 200, 2 million. Like it could be worth so much money and revenue and it's organic, right? Like it's lighting it up because if you come in that 3-pack for AC repair, AC replacement, emergency AC repair near me, and you can light this whole map up green. Like this is AC repair near me. But if we could do the same thing down here, what would it be worth to his business? A lot. So if it did cost $2,000, let's say it costs you $2,000 a month to go get a satellite office. That's $24,000 for the year. The marketing company charges you, $1,000 a month or whatever to manage and optimize that location. I'm just throwing numbers out there. Right. So you're $36,000 all in that could at least bring you $500,000, $1 million in new revenue. That return on investment is going to knock down and beat any Facebook ad, campaign, Google ad campaign, YouTube, whatever. So if you got to think about it, you need to talk to someone that knows how to do this, right? Because there is a strategy here to be able to take the different quadrants. So if I come down here and I look and I go to averages, when I click on averages, this software we have will actually tell us who's ranking in that area. What are the other competitors doing? How many reviews did they have? And then if you see here, he's got Northwest, Northeast, Southwest, Southeast. Those are the different quadrants. And that's how we need to kind of look at how hard is it going to be over here? Maybe that's where the satellite office needs to be. We don't necessarily need to put one, 5 locations, one in each of these corners, but it's going to depend. Like if this was Los Angeles, you bet your ass you would need to have any chance to be able to rank on this whole thing if we were sitting in the center of LA or something, because it's so competitive and there's so, the population is so big.
Yeah. Yeah, that blows my mind. Yeah. It's funny because you said Modesto and I was like, wait a minute, that sounds so familiar. That's actually like 45 minutes from where I grew up. I actually grew up in California.
Oh, really?
In Atwater, which I was like, that sounds really familiar. It's actually 45 minutes from where I grew up. So I was like, that's home.
Yeah, they're killing it.
This sounds so cool though. All of this technology is awesome. And so many businesses have no clue about what you're talking about right now.
No. They don't.
Yeah. And guys, listen, for me,
so before you jump out, you jump out and go get another business or another location.
Oh yeah.
Set up a time with Jonathan, because that's going to tell you your best place to go look for an office. Otherwise, you're wasting money. You're wasting your time. And maybe you don't even need to do that. He's going to be able to tell you, hey, I should or shouldn't.
Or you can't.
Yeah, he's going to point you in the right direction. I don't want anybody fear jumping or fear mongering of like, oh my God.
Yeah, don't go grab 5 freaking offices today.
Don't do that. Meet with a professional who's able to give you guidance. And that's honestly what Jonathan is and his team. They're going to give you the exact prescription of what you need to do, what you need to follow in order to meet your goals. And when you meet with him, don't just go, I want to be busy. What does that mean? You need to be specific about, and that's where we talked about.
You need to have everything in line.
Yeah.
What your goals are.
What your goals are.
What your plan is, your budget.
Yep.
What your strategy currently is. What you're going through in your season of your business.
Yeah.
You need to have all of these things figured out before you're ready to go ahead and dive into a really deep conversation of growth.
Yeah. So do a little bit of research for yourself of like where you want to go, where do you want your, are you like, hey, I'm almost at 1 million and I want to be 2. Great. So come up with a game plan that's going to reach your thing, like reach your goals. Like it's so important to know ahead of time. Otherwise you're just going to go in there and be like, hey, I want to be busy. And how many clients do you have that just are like, I want to be busy? And you're like, what does that mean?
All of them. Right. And it's like, and this leads me into, I'm trying to pull up an example here. I need to get some fake numbers. I don't want to show any of the client stuff, but I want to kind of show, not to brag about us or anything, but I want to show like, this is the level at which you should be looking and tracking everything, inside of your business, because not only do you need to know that as your business, you should know your numbers, but at the same time, it's the only way that you're going to feel comfortable opening up your checkbook and spending the money that you need to hit the goals that you have in place. One thing I know, I've been doing this now, what is it? 15, about to be 9 years. And the one thing that I hear every single time, if I was, to still do sales calls and talk to them, it was like, hey, what'd you do in revenue last year? They tell me a number. What do you want to do in the next 12 months? They always tell me a number, but it always goes something like this. They almost could be in a rap video. It's like, I did 2.2, I want to do 3.2. I did 4.5, I want to do 6.5. They have this perfectly round number. Rarely, and luckily the ones that I do get to hear that know their numbers, I enjoy those conversations because they're like, no, we need to do X. We're going to go an X percentage in increased revenue. And the reason why is because in order to do that, we need to hire 4 new technicians.
knows exactly what they need to do.
Mhm.
Install
Okay.
crews. And Jonathan, if I'm going to do this and I'm going to hire those people, I got to train those people. A lot of money get invested here. I got to hit this goal. That's what that's what would cause me to not sleep at night, knowing that they're telling me I got to go and hire 8 new people to be able to hit this revenue goal. But if I don't hit it, I'm laying people off come September, October, right? And that affects me. So the one thing I wanted to show here, the last thing I'll show, and y'all can ask any questions. I'm going to share my screen one more time, and boom, I had to erase some names and stuff. So can everybody see this?
They should. Let me check on my side and see what it looks like. Where'd it go?
I'm going to make it full screen so it's larger.
Okay.
All right.
We're good? All right.
Yeah. Oh.
So this is the level at which we go to market now. I want to know what your average ticket is, what your average install is for service and replacement, your overhead expenses, your direct job cost number, which is your finance, your materials, your labor, your subcontractors if you're using them. I want to know what last year's revenue and the next 12 months you want to do. And when we plug it into here, like we're going to be able to figure out based off of your numbers. And then we're going to ask you, like, we're going to look through your historical data last year. I want to know like each month, because, you know, California to New York to Miami to Alaska, we got clients in Alaska, like like one in Miami, they don't know what a heater is. And in Alaska, they don't know what air conditioning is. So different strategies, different ratios at which they're converting service call leads into an installation. So I need to know, like, you know, different times of the year, how many installs did you do last year? And I want to try to figure out what is that tech flip ratio between a service call into an install. These are never going to be perfect, but we need to have some kind of forecasted number, because I then want to be able to say, okay, your SEO looks like it's decent. We feel like we're going to be able to go up this many points in SEO and blah, blah, blah. So I can then put a strategy to say, all right, watch this. If I set this to 250, because 250 is what I incentivize my paid ads team. All right. So paid ads can be Facebook, Google, YouTube, TikTok. My paid ads team, I am incentivizing them to get a new customer, not a lead, not a conversion, but a new customer for our clients for $250. That's what they're going to get a bonus for. Now, it doesn't mean that we're going to hit it every time. It may be 300 or 350 on a certain campaign. You know, it's just, you know, demand has to be there. Mother Nature has to be working out. A lot of things go into it. But 250, if I had to get every one of these 300 leads for 250, I'm telling this contractor he's got to spend $75,000 to do it. So you see here how important organic SEO and Google Maps are to drive down that lead cost or that ad spend cost.
Yes.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, if you need the customers, you got to get them from somewhere. They're not just going to come walking into your business and go, oh,
That's right.
you do air conditioning, plumbing service, or electrical service. I need you. It doesn't work that way.
Right.
So you need to be there when they're searching. You got to come up. Well, in order to do that, Google wants you to pay them.
Yeah.
So now if I set this to 125 and you go, well, we're going to, you know, get half of our leads and things through Google Maps and organic SEO. Well, now it drives this number way down, right? So the better your SEO gets, the stronger your brand gets, the less ad spend you're spending. Because one, you're getting a bunch of your leads from organic. Then the other side, the paid ads you are doing, they're going to convert better.
Yeah.
Because people are going to know and recognize and trust your name already because they've seen it over and over and over and over. So what we like to do is, and then the other thing, guys, the other page of this is once you become a client of ours, now we're going to keep up with and go, okay, well, how many book calls, you know, here's how many we said we needed. How many did you actually get? Here's how many installs we were shooting for, projected for. How many did you actually get? And revenue. Like, I want to know my clients' revenue, because if they get too far off track, I don't want them firing people, laying people off, but I also don't want to get too far away from, you know, the goal, because then if we get out of busy season, we're in the shoulder season, demand's gone. So like, where are we going to get?
So you're very much one-on-one with these
Yeah.
clients on what their actual conversion rates are, and how often are you having these conversations? Weekly, monthly?
At least once a month, but I prefer the clients to do every 2 weeks.
Okay.
But here's the thing. we take it a step further. We listen, and I encourage all businesses out there, we listen to every single phone call that comes in. Because if you just take a conversion from Google or anywhere, a conversion is a phone call or a form fill. It's someone that took action. But you know how many ads that we put out there, and like Yelp and these other businesses are calling the number because you know what they know when they see it? Oh, well, this business is advertising. So they call that number on there. It's a tracking number, and then they're trying to sell their services. Well, your marketing company is going to go, that's a conversion. That was a lead. Well, it wasn't. And for us, if we're getting this specific of trying to figure out what is it going to actually take, how many booked calls do we need to hit your goal, then we have to get deeper. And we listen to every call. I've got an entire call listening team. Listen to your calls, guys. Listen to them and determine how many of them were junk and you're going to get junk calls. It's going to happen. You're going to get abandoned calls. You're going to get, spam calls. But how many of them converted into a customer? And then you actually should take it one step further and go, how much revenue came from that customer, right? So now you've got a return on investment, but you also have something called a return on ad spend. So if I'm spending $5,000 on Facebook, how much money do you need to make in return on ad spend to make that profitable? It can't be $5,001 unless it's $5,001 you made in profit. Yeah. Right. So you can't spend $5,000 and make go and sell a $5,000 job and go, all right, well, I broke even at least. No, because how much margin did you have in that? What was your profit?
God, I feel like that explains so much at the past company that I was at.
Yeah.
And
so there are things out there like what converts, right?
Yep.
That track what you're talking about.
It's
that
a
will
phone
actually
call system, what
transcribe the entire conversation for you, so you don't even have to listen to it. You can read it if you want to, or you can read and listen, so you can catch all your friction points even internally.
Right. Here's also too what I'm gonna say is a lot of people, and I witnessed this being in the trades, is the owner is so far removed from booking the call that they're and what the actual person who's doing the phone answering, they're so far removed from that, and they're like, well, they're just sitting around. They're not answering the phone. I don't know what to do I don't know what to give them to do. That was a lot of the time, was like the person answering the phone was given busy tasks because the owner felt like they weren't getting the money from them and they weren't, making their revenue per se. Right. And it's like, that's what your person answering the phone does, is they go back and they listen to the phone calls, because
that's where everything starts.
That's where everything starts. So have them go back and listen.
A good training tip is let them listen to the coworkers' calls.
Yes.
Right, because now you're training, and you can
exactly
and let them critique or let them write notes. Maybe not to that person, but to the owner, and say, the way that Sally handled this call seems like we could have closed it, and we could have, this could have been a book job instead. Now they're going to call us later or something, right?
Yeah. And so often that happens, but all that person doing that's listening has to just coach the other person that's taking the call into converting that in a different form. It's not that they did necessarily answer that phone call incorrectly or didn't close it properly. But, well, it is they didn't close it properly, but they didn't use the right terminology because they're not educated enough to make that conversion.
Everybody who's answering the phone should have dedicated time to go in and listen how other people are answering the phones. If you've got the right staff with the right mindset, and I talk about mindset all the time. If you've got the right staff with the right mindset, they're going to be willing to go, oh, I like the way she said that. Oh, I like the way the homeowner responded to that. You'd be surprised on what you can learn when you can hear both sides of the conversation, which, funny point is like, that's why it's like, if you're going to have an argument in public on the phone, at least put it on speakerphone so I can hear both sides. Like, that's what I'm getting at though, is it's like, you don't need to give your office staff busy work. You need to give them the right work. And the right work is going back and listening to the phone calls and tracking, and then going in like, okay, I need to actually, from last week, I need to go in, or even 2 days ago, I need to tweak this. I need to go in and look and see what that converted number is and put in the data and have a place to put that data in if you're not using an automatic tracker of some sort.
That's right. Yeah. You're right. 100% right. And we train our team to listen to the calls, but we've now trained them how to pick up on little things that, like, for instance, CSR is giving quotes over the phone. Like, we know that traditionally, and so whether she did something or he or she did something wrong, we've trained for it, and then they have to download an MP3 file, send it to the account manager. The account manager will make the determination. Do they feel like that's a no-no based off of what we know the client, does or doesn't do? And we send it over to the owner and say, hey, just want to let you know, yesterday this call came in and Sally Jean was blasting out $15,000 furnace quotes on a call to someone. So you've got to be checking everything everywhere.
Yeah, and one of the other things that we ran into quite a bit just with like the phone was like they didn't feel, and this goes down back to the training aspect of it, was the lady answering the phone was, I don't know, let me go ask the owner. And so they put the customer
on
hold and then be like,
and then you lose a customer because you put them on hold.
Right. Or they're going to ask the owner like, well, what would we charge? They want to know a price, or they're not going to book with us.
You don't even have that conversation.
Yeah.
It's call to action, book them.
Yes.
Your job as a CSR is take the call, schedule the call.
Yeah.
That's right.
Let the technicians handle the rest.
Right. We're talking training, and a lot of companies do training, but we should also be training on our digital marketing.
Yes.
And so our CSR should be training, and we're going to spend money to bring trainers in or get some coaching. Great. Right. Or even it's internal. One girl listens to the other girl's calls and we do some training, but you should be training on your digital marketing. And a lot of people, don't have inside, marketing companies. And I don't really strongly suggest it to anyone, not because I own a marketing company, but because I hear it all the time. Like, oh, I hired a girl that's got a master's degree in marketing, and I don't care. Like you can't have one person that knows how to write content, knows how to do backlinks, knows how to do digital, Google ads, YouTube ads, TikTok ads. Like we have individual teams because I don't want my Facebook ad specialist attempting to learn how to do TikTok.
No.
I want to find people that are really good at TikTok and they do our TikTok ads.
And
that's how it works.
That just goes back to hire people for what they're good at doing. If you're an electrician, be an electrician. You don't need to be doing Google ads or marketing or anything else. If you're good at marketing, you don't need to be doing electrical work. You don't need to be doing HVAC work. You need to hire the right people for the right task.
Yeah. So here's what I'll leave everyone with.
I have a question in regards to the Google My phone numbers. There are so many different companies, and every company wants you to use a different phone number. They want you to have a different phone number on your postcards, different phone number. Like, how does Google look at that? Because there was a time with Google where it's like Google didn't want your business to have multiple phone numbers anywhere. How is Google looking at that now?
So so we're talking about directory submissions having the same consistent phone number, right? So Yelp or something like that. Now, Yelp and GMB or your Google business profile, if you go into the settings of GMB, there is a place for you to add a tracking number. So what they do is they will have a place that says your primary number. They want you to have your main office number. And then what they'll do is they will let it revert over to the other number. It'll give you the data and analytics of how many people came, but that's keeping the NAP consistent. But what they don't want is you to have a different number on BBB and a different number on Around Me. These are all local directory submissions. Google is using local directory submissions to help them find local businesses for local searches. But a postcard or a billboard or something along those lines, the numbers can be different, right? Like you still have to track your sources. But on local directory submissions, the big ones, Yelp, Google Business Profile, they have a place for you to put a tracking number and Google will recognize it and give you the data. Okay,
fair enough. Awesome. So what are you going to leave us with today?
I wanted to leave everybody with is, one thing, if you're like, well, like Jason was saying, like, don't go out and get a bunch of locations and don't go out and like ripping things apart because your business is slow right now and fire your marketing company or whatever, unless you're going to come to us. I'm just kidding. But what I'll say is ask some questions. And one of the questions I would ask is, can you send me and show me my keywords that we're going after, right? Look at those keywords and then have a hard talk with them and say, what I'd like to do. And if you have access to your Google Search Console, well, then you can actually go see those keywords and how much traffic went to those keywords last month or yesterday or whatever. So if you're looking at keywords that don't have traffic, understand that's why your phones aren't ringing.
So if you can I pause for a second? So if you have, as a business owner, if you have the access to that, will it also show your DA score?
Your DA score, you're going to have to go to a DA checker.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that was the other link that we posted.
Yeah.
Yep. Yes. And there's many out there. Just put in domain authority checker and there'll be some out there. We use Ahrefs. It seems to be the most consistent and most used. And that Ahrefs ranks on a 0 to 100. So if your DA is a 2, understand that is like as F- as we can get. Right. But in some
trade related, like what is really the real expectation of what that score should be? Because obviously we know Facebook, all the social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter,
100.
they're all going to be at 100, right? So the expectation for trade related services is not going to be anywhere near 100. So nobody should be trying to reach the 100, right? But they need to be in the, between 1 and 10, somewhere in there, or 1 and 5.
You have to be close. It's about your competitors, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's where the research is so important, because there's times where, like right now, I'm looking at a report that we ran for one of our clients, and then we took some of their competitors. So my client was an 11 DA, new client of ours. They're coming in. I think they came in as a 6, and we've been able to get them to 11. Our strategy we have is we feel that we can move the DA score 5 points every 6 weeks, right? I mean, it's not a quick overnight strategy. So unfortunately, if you're in a market where your DA is super low and your competitors are super high when you're running these tests, that's where, look, people have used the terminology SEO takes time, and it's frustrating. People don't want to hear that shit anymore. And I'm telling you, our strategy, when we put that keyword research together, we've also got the approximation of how many months we think it's going to take, but it's based off of a science. It's like, well, here's who's ranking for this content, and here's the average competitor DA that's ranking for that content. Here's your DA. The first thing we got to do is go after these lower searched or lower competitive keywords that have a lower average DA ranking for it now. And while we're doing that, we're going to be creating a backlinking strategy to get your DA score up. So when I'm looking at the clients here, it's at 11. The competitors are an 8, 11, a 7. All right. So those, we're tied with those, but then there's a 28 in the market and a 64. The 64 is a 1 hour heat and air. Well, 1 hour heat and air has got their websites connected and linked with every 1 hour heat and air around the country. So that's why that DA is a 64. But the other one in the market is a 28. So what I have to tell my client is, you're an 11. Any keywords that the 28 is currently ranking first position for, it doesn't matter how much content we write, buddy. We're not going to outrank that website until we get to a 28 or higher. And so that's the strategy. And unfortunately, people don't understand this. They don't know what they're looking for, supposed to be looking for. And,
they really just don't understand the entire conversation about it yet. And because there's so much changing daily.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, I want to encourage everybody to figure out what their score is, start looking into everything that they need to look at as far as their business goes, and then start reaching to the right people.
Yeah.
Yeah. I saw someone ask, what's a good number? The good number is what your competitors are, because you got to see who's ranking in the first few spots, and that's where you want to be.
Yeah.
So if those people have a high DA, it doesn't matter. You can write 1,000 blogs next week and 1,000 service pages. It's not going to outrank them. It used to give you a better chance to be able to compete, because it was how much content could you put out. But now Google has all the content they need, and they know that ChatGPT-4 has, more content that it could write than all of us could think about. So They don't want you to write more content. They want you to be able to put something out that's better than the content that's already ranking. And so that's where you got to look at, first off, DA score matters. And then if you get your DA to the same as that company's that's ranking, then you got to go and do research to go, what what do they have out there that's ranking now? And they go, okay, well, we go, well, they have an article that's got 1,400 words on it. It's got a couple images. So we at least now know that, well, we're going to start with 15 or 1,600 words. We got to get more words on the page, but now we've got to get better images. We got to geotag those right. The titles need to hopefully be better than what they have. And then there's software we use. One's called Surfer SEO. That's what we use to grade our content. So now what we do is we go and grade, and this costs us money every time we're running these scans. We're grading what the competitor's content is, and then we're going to go write a piece of content that grades better. Because otherwise it's like, well, how do we tell Google that this is better? And it's by a grading system. So we don't put out anything that's an 80 or below on a grading system to begin with. Unless if there's someone that's got an 87, then our writers have to keep writing and doing stuff to get it over an 87, because there's no point in publishing something that someone else is ranking for that's not going to outbeat it. Then what you're doing is what I was doing, which was selling content, right? When Joseph asked that question, are you selling content? I mean, because then you're just putting shit out that to check boxes.
Right. So if you are like me, for instance, where I've got
Amazing.
I've got a lot of.
I'm not sure how to be amazing, but.
So thank you for that. But if you, like, for instance, for me, I know I've got a lot of authority in the trade space. Where would someone like me start to start putting my articles and my content for people to grab, to be able to backlink or to be an author for an article for something that they could put on their website? What is your advice for me to be able to play in this market and to be considered an authoritative writer for this space?
Well, it starts with, like Joseph was saying, make the article be written and you're the author of it, put it on your blog, on your website, then take that blog and post that blog on your social media profiles, put that blog on your Google business profile. And another, thing that we've started doing and we're seeing a lot of traction with is because we're taking that specific piece of content and putting it out using RSS feed to blast it out on social media and GMB, you can boost it. So if you were to spend, just $5 on Facebook to boost that blog that you put out and you start getting clicks on it and engagement with it, it lights up social signals. It's going to make such a bigger SEO impact. So that's where I would start, is getting high quality content, starting with who are some of your competitors, what kind of content do they have out there? And then who does Jennifer Clements what does she need to write to put out something that's going to be more informative, more engaging in Google's eyes? Because Google's like, look, if your article is going to get more eyeballs than this one that's out here written on the same topic, because there's already something written. No one's going to go write something today that's not already written somewhere on the World Wide Web. So you just Google wants something that's going to be better, because better means that they'll get more users to their platform and people will stay on their platform longer instead of going to another search engine.
And that brings another question up. How important is bounce rate now?
I mean, it's super important, because Google wants to make sure that what you're putting out there is actually people are sticking on it. Right. So it's like, that's another thing, like with Facebook. We mentioned this yesterday. I was talking to y'all that Zuckerberg has put out that if you start putting content on your business Facebook page that doesn't get engagement, it is going to start having a negative impact on your Facebook profile. Why is that? Because they want people to stop putting out garbage that people are going to bounce from, because and we think, well, that's silly. People are on Facebook. They're looking at people's family and kids and what they ate for dinner. Like, no, when you start looking at billions of users, they want to make sure the content that's being published is getting people's attention and they're sticking there, right? So it's no different than if you post an article or you have a landing page. Let's talk about Google AdWords and you have a landing page. If you have the bounce rate is extremely high because people are going to it and then they're going to another competitor, it's like, why? Why did they do that? There's something wrong with that landing page that's making people not want to stay on it. But if somebody is actually going to turn into a real customer, this is where it's important for marketing, then you've got to figure out what's making them leave or what's making them stay. And that's where we talk about authentic imagery. Put your family, your dogs, your cats, your kids, because that's the stuff that makes it, a relationship driven, that makes an impact. Right? So people want to see that stuff.
Yeah, they do. And for me, I like to put out stuff that's a 5-step thing. It's know, like, trust, follow, phone call. Like
Yep.
you've got to build that know, the like, the trust, and then they start to follow you, and then they make that phone call.
That's
You're
why
not-
we like to create funnels, like when we're talking about social media and stuff, because you think about HVAC and where we are. We're in Dallas, right?
Yeah.
If I was to go turn an ad on for a client right now and go financing as low as $99 a month, there's thousands of those ads out there in the DFW market right now. So what's going to make your ad stick out and be more impactful? Right. So that's where you got to create a funnel. You got to stop trying to offer everything out the gate, and you got to tell a story and gain trust, right? Like make a connection with those people. So we like to put video content out there that just tells the story of who that company is. Right. And then the next layer is like give value, right? So give them tips on why you should do regular maintenance on your system, why you should change your filter out each month, and don't have an offer on it. If they want to click on it and go to your company and call you, great. But don't try to sell all the time. But that's called branding, right?
Yes,
so essentially, you're putting out ads that aren't going to bring you instant return. That's branding. And it's hard for some people to be able to swallow that they're spending thousands of dollars on something that they're not getting an instant return for. But guys, at the end of the day, you're going to have to pick your poison, because you're either going to spend money now, someone advertising, someone branding, and let it work together, or you're always going to be paying for new customers, always. Because if you don't strengthen your brand, all right, because there's different things on Google Analytics, and one of them is called direct search. And so you need to look at that. And I will tell you that some people, if you were to go look at your Google Analytics, you're going to see all of your traffic coming from direct search. And it's going to be probably a low number, but that means you're not getting any new customers from your marketing company. That means that they're all coming because they know you, and you're typing in www.abcengineer.com. But what you want is you want to be a big, huge company, and you're getting a ton of direct search because now you're not paying for all those new customers. They know your brand, they know your jingle or whatever it is. So when they have a problem, their toilet's overflowing or their air condition shuts down, they're not going to Google and going AC repair near me. They're going www. I know exactly who I want to use because I like them, I know them, I trust them. That's what you want.
So, and to this, and I want to give this little piece, and you can tell me if I was right or wrong in this in my last marketing campaign that I used. So part of the training that we were doing was 223s. Basically, we left, it was a sticky note and it had a QR code on it. And that QR code went directly to our website to book an appointment. It was no phone number listed. It was, if you want to book with us, go to our website. And so all of these sticky notes, we did 2 to the left, 2 to the right, and 3 in the front of whatever home we were servicing. And so those were driving traffic to our website from the homes that we were already searching. What do you think about that?
I like it.
Okay.
I mean, the getting a bunch of traffic that's not turning into conversions, like isn't like helping you per se. But at the end of the day, you're reminding that customer of the next time that they need you, or they could take one of those sticky notes, and when they're at the ball field or something and their friend goes, I'm having some issues, like, oh, I don't have the sticky note with me, but I got these little sticky notes and I'll just walk it over to your house tomorrow and I'll hand it to you. Hey, you've got to think of that's branding. Like what you did was branding. You came up with some cute idea of a sticky note that had your brand name on it and a website or URL on it. And that is good. You have to do branding.
Yeah. And I didn't necessarily want a phone call. It was like, I wanted the customer to essentially become our office person and schedule their own appointment. Like that's what I was looking for in that. But I never really, until our conversation today, realized what I was doing for the web component of that, of like the escalation of the website, because it was, scanning that QR code took them to the website. And so like that, I never thought about that part of it.
Well, and here's the thing I want to tell people. And a lot of people, it's 2023. People are getting smarter, and unfortunately they're getting smarter because they're going broke and out of business. And they're like, I got to learn marketing. I got to pay more attention to it. But, they would say, well, we're sponsoring the Little League team and I'm sponsoring this soccer team. And that's okay.
Yeah.
Give it to your local community, but don't expect a return on investment from that.
No.
That is branding. If you've got your sign out in the left field of the high school football team, it's branding. Is it going to help you in the long run? Yeah, it's like a billboard. Like no one's driving down the freeway, and no matter how your billboard, you're not going, holy shit, honey, grab my phone and write that number down while I'm doing 75 past the billboard. No, It's just so your brain it's another touch point. And I'll tell you, there was a Harvard study that came out a year or two ago that talks about, because of digital marketing, you know, the touch points used to be like 6 to 8 or something, 6 to 9. That number is now like 17 or 18.
Wow.
Yeah, go find that article. And here's the reason why. Like, you know, you look around and you see you've got kids, and it's like they're watching these 5-second videos, flip, 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 flip. So in order for you to get your brand across to someone, that 6 times doesn't cut it anymore. You got to hit them all over. Here's the word, omnipresent. You have to be all over. You better be on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, retargeting and hitting these people from all angles, because the attention span is not there anymore. You've got to do more to make an impact than you ever had to in the history of businesses.
So dive further into that, like we were talking last night.
If he has time.
There's also a point that we can, as business owners, we can post too much content or not the correct content to the tune of, you know, just putting stuff out there and then not getting likes or shares or views. That also plays a factor in hurting your brand, correct?
So all right. So here's the way Facebook is. Let's talk about Facebook real quick before they went public. So before Facebook went public, you had a business page. So we're talking like 2009, 10, 11 in that era. You could, whatever you posted got seen by however many likes or followers you had on your business page. Like they just opened it up to everyone. Well, then what they did was, when they went public, the only way Facebook makes money is from advertisers. So then they had to change the algorithm, you know, and build what was called an algorithm to say, okay, now if you've got 5,000 likes or followers on your business page, we're only going to let a couple of those see it. But guess what? You can boost it, and you can run a paid ad if you want, and we'll let you target the audience you want to hit, and we'll tell you approximately how many people we're going to show it to if you pay us. That's the only way they make money. All right. And they've got, you know, investors and everything else. So people didn't understand that. And they're like, well, you know, I don't get any business from Facebook anymore. And it's like, so the algorithm used to be, I'm not sure what it really is now, is that for every like you got, it was like 5 additional people they would show it to. For every comment you got, it was 10 people. And for every share you got, it could be 75 to 100 people they're open to.
Right.
All right. So then we used to train our clients to say, look, if you're going to allow your team to have their cell phones at work, you need to tell them the new policy is, if you're going to catch them being on their Facebook throughout the day, or Instagram or TikTok, you better tell them they better be going to the company assets and liking and sharing whatever was put out for that day, because it's going to open it up to more people. It's going to open it up to their friends and family and the other person's friends and family. So there's ways to get around it. But I will tell you what Zuckerberg said, that if you're posting content and it's not getting engagement, they are going to make it take a negative. Now, a negative impact is they're not going to like send you a bill or kick you off Facebook. No. What they're going to do is they're going to slow the algorithm down, and no one's going to ever see any of your posts anymore. So then it's like you're paying a company, or you're paying a girl inside your office to post content that's not making zero impact or any return for you. So you're just wasting money somewhere.
You are. Yeah, absolutely. So someone asked, hire a social media manager that knows what they're doing to post. There's also a certain time frame in which you should make these posts about your content, and there's a science to that in itself. There's the time where, you know, you're doing school drop off or you're doing school pickup. Everybody's sitting on their phones at certain peak hours of the day, whether it's those times or right before dinner, right after dinner, laying in bed at night. There are certain times, you know, it's a sign that there's just a science to it.
Yeah.
So make sure you're doing your content posting at the right times. And if you're not, hire it out. Hire the people that you need to do the things that you need done properly.
Yep. 100%.
Thank you so much, Jonathan, for coming on today. I can't wait to have you back on, and I just can't wait to see this explode. And
I can't wait either. And I want to come down, because I'm not too far from you. I want to come to the studio, and I I want to sit there like Garth Brooks, like I'm live in the G, right?
Can you pick the guitar?
Yeah.
I know how to play the guitar, but I think if I wore
Put a cowboy hat on and hold it and look like it.
Yeah.
and no
We're
one
gonna play some music in the background.
Yeah.
that's what I'm going to work on. So
All right.
thank you guys. I hope y'all have an
Thanks,
amazing
Jonathan.
Well,
week, and I would love to come back.
absolutely. Hang tight while we end this so we can grab all the audio. But thank you guys for tuning in. You've got all of the emails. Drop a comment in here if you guys need contacts for anybody. And thank you so much for tuning in.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.
See y'all.